Welcome back to another week of high school football. I'm Greg Ellis with Tupelo coach Trent Hammond, and this is Gridiron Takes. And coach, we're coming off a tough loss the other night. Gave up 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, but the guys played hard.
Yeah, our guys played really, really hard. I was proud of that as a coach. You know, I come away saying that if we can get that kind of effort each week, we'll be a good football team. You know, but that doesn't help you as far as the feelings. You know, didn't leave here till about 3:30 that morning because you always play back the what ifs.
Exactly. The one thing I noticed pregame and going into the first quarter was a lot of energy and focus from your guys on the field.
I think our guys were ready to play. You know, we had seen some publication stuff that had us predicted 3-8, that had us losing the ball game 48-7 and that kind of thing. And so our kids were excited and ready to play, and kind of wanting to, you know, that opening game, you get ready to hit somebody else other than hit each other. And so I was really pleased with that.
Before we look ahead to this week's opponent in Corinth, let's just talk a little bit about the game. Did you get the balanced attack you wanted on offense, and how would you describe your defensive play?
Our offense, we were a lot more balanced than we were last year. Jake threw the ball really well. We had some guys catch the ball. Trip Wilson had an outstanding performance, and our O-line opened up some real holes for David Hayes and McGinnister in the run game. So I was very pleased with that, especially going against a very seasoned South Panola team. And so, you know, you want that to be there, and you hope that it gets there for next week.
I thought David ran very hard, created a lot of his own yardage once he got outside the tackle.
He's a guy that doesn't let the first one bring him down. Defensively, we were very undersized on the D-line, but I thought they held up well. Secondary played well. And, you know, there are times that we missed tackles because I live by the old adage in coaching that it's never as good as it seems or as bad as it feels. And so, you know, you come off a night and you start analyzing the film and looking at things, all of a sudden, you know, 2 or 3 plays here or there, and you win the ball game. That's one of the things that I preach to our kids that we don't know, but I had an old coach tell me 3 plays win a ball game every night. Bad thing is you don't know when those 3 come.
Right.
That you have to be perfect, and you have to be doing, you know, play it as hard as you can every play, so that when one of those 3s happen, you make it to win. And you know, as you get in there, you say, well, if this play would have been different, or this one, we'd made this tackle, or we'd have made that block, or whatever, we'd have won the ball game. But those are things that make coaches' life miserable this time of year.
You talked about Trip Wilson. A great night for him, and after looking back on some film, I think he was robbed of a catch too.
He could have been, but you know, I say that could shake out because David Hayes could or could not have been called down in another
Right.
instant. You know, I would love to have that one back because I think that one puts the game. I think we would have been up, you know, 20-something to 7 at the half, and that makes a big difference on how outcomes go.
Exactly, and you had some great momentum going into the half too with a late score like that. Does that carry over in the second half?
Yeah, those are the 2 most critical spots in a ball game, is that drive right before the half and that drive coming out of the half. That's able to it's almost like playing basketball when you're a pickup game and you play and make it, take it.
Right.
You're
right.
able to, if you can score and then get the ball and score again. That's why you'll always see me, if I win the coin toss, I'm going to defer and take the ball in the second half. That way the possibility of scoring one at the end of the half and one at the beginning of half and getting a 2-score flip without you having possession comes into play.
Well, it was just a great high school football game. At both teams, I mean, that was not your typical season opener, obviously with the quality of talent on both sides of the ball. But now it's Corinth. They're coming off a big shutout win at Shannon. And last year, that was a great football game here at Tupelo, came back and won that game in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I think they returned something like 19 out of their 22 starters from last year.
That's pretty good.
In the Jamboree, they beat the defending 6A champs Horn Lake 24-12.
Right.
Then they shut out a Shannon team, and the most impressive part of the shutout was that they gave up 21 total yards of offense to Shannon on defense.
Wow.
So they have several D1 prospects on the O-line and in the backfield. They are a loaded team, and I think that's why you'll see that Coach Lowry this year has scheduled the Tupelos and some other people to step out there and play, because he knows he's got a good team. He wants to test it for the end of the year.
When you look at this current team and you break them down on film, what are 3 things that stand out?
Well, they're wing T, and you don't see that, and that's hard to practice.
Right.
But they have 3 guys on offense that can score at any moment.
Gotcha.
You know, they will walk out there with three players, their quarterback and their running backs, that can score. Anytime you miss a tackle or get out of position, they're going to dance in the end zone. And so that creates worry that you have a just missed tackle touchdown, very similar to what Jannard Dean's able to do. You know, there are reasons guys are getting, you know, people offered to pay for college.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and so Corinth's got a few of those, and that worries you. Defensively, they fly around and get after it. They've got a really good little linebacker, number 30, that stacks up in the middle and makes 1,000,000 tackles. And so we've got our hands full.
Friday nights, it's always going to be full. And for a team like Corinth, it's a big game for them. They want to beat the big 6A school.
Yeah, and they're going to, you know, each year we've gone, but this year I think they unveil a Jumbotron. They have each year that we've played up there, they've had a on-campus carnival that they bring in fair rides and all this. So it's a big-time night up there. So they'll play with a lot of energy, and it's going to be up to us to kind of match that energy early.
It's always tougher going on the road. This past week we had a phenomenal crowd, great turnout on both sides of the field. How different is it to find that energy when you're on the road?
Well, you know, it's different. It takes you out of the normal routine, and you've got to get to where you establish that routine. And, you know, it's just a little different when you're able to sleep and bed down and do those things.
Right.
But over the past, we've handled road games really well here. And I think this team will adapt to it and go play, because sometimes it's kind of fun to go play in other places.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and be, you know, I've talked to them about trying to be like the early 80s, mid 80s Florida State teams
Right.
that played, or the Southern Miss teams that said anybody, anywhere, anytime.
Right.
You know, that you want to take that attitude as you go.
Now, you talk about a change of routine. Corinth is an hour away. So what time will you guys leave? When do you eat? What's the routine for a road game such as Corinth?
Well, you know, we'll come in at 1:38 like always, and kids will gather their uniforms and pack travel bags and do all that. And then we will eat at about 2:45. And in Tupelo, we're very fortunate. We have churches line up to
Right.
feed us every Friday. And this Friday we'll be on the road to First Methodist Church. We'll travel to them, eat in their dining hall, and you know, right there, and then we'll roll out somewhere around 3:45 or so, because I want to be at the stadium about 5 o'clock to get us time to get out, to walk the field, to move around, and then get taped up and be ready to play.
And then it's game 2.
Once the ball's in the air, all that's over with, and it's just football.
Coach, we appreciate your time and wish you luck this weekend as we try to get the first win of the season. See you in Corinth.
Go Wave.